So, this video is going to be a relatively short video, but it's going to be an informative one on how to band up a slingshot like this one. So here's going to be the materials that you'll need. The first thing that you're going to need is a belt or some kind of piece of leather that's going to be big enough for a pouch. You want to be sure that the material that you're using is something very grippy and is something that you can hold on to and have a good grip on. Then the second thing is going to be a rotary cutter. And in this case, I'm just using an 18mm rotary cutter, which I ordered online. You'll also need a clamp, and you probably won't need this if you're pretty experienced in making bands, but you'll probably need it at first. Then you'll need a small length of string, and finally some Theraband Gold. Theraband Gold is just a latex-based workout band. You're also going to need a cutting board or some kind of surface that won't damage your rotary cutter. You're also going to need a steel pin, some type of marker or Sharpie, and finally a torch or lighter. So the first thing we'll get started on is cutting the grooves around the forks of the slingshot. So here's what the grooves look like after they've been carved. You want to make sure that your grooves are pretty deep, and in this case the grooves are 3/4 of the file deep. So the thing that I cut out here is 24 centimeters long, and I want to make 4 bands out of this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting out some tapered bands. The reason I'm going to be cutting tapered bands is because they shoot faster. This is because they're easier to pull, and if they're easier to pull, then the more draw length you get out of them. And most of the time draw length outweighs draw weight, so therefore you get more speed and more power out of the ball bearing. This is because the more draw weight you have, the easier time you have moving objects faster and accelerating them, but the more draw length you have, the more time that your bands have to speed up the ball bearing or whatever you're shooting. So, at the fork, the bands are going to be 3 centimeters long. So, I'm just going to mark 3 centimeters with my ruler. And then I'll do that same exact thing 4 more times. And since the width at the pouch is going to be 2 centimeters, I'm going to make 4 marks with 2 centimeters in between each. And now I'll connect the lines with my ruler. So to determine the length of my pouch, I'm basically just going to be taking it like I would be shooting a ball bearing, and then keep my finger right there, and now I know how long my pouch needs to be. Now I'm going to be making the holes that I need for the pouch, and the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm going to be heating up this steel pin in the vise there, and then I'm going to be taking this piece of belt and then melting these holes in it. Ideally, with a leather pouch, you wouldn't want to do this. Obviously, you would just take a leather punch and punch the holes. First thing that you're going to want to do is attach the Theraband strips to the pouch. So once you pull your Theraband through, you're going to want to fold it in half like this. Fold it over onto itself. And then you're going to take a piece of Theraband like this one and begin to wrap it around. So just hold it on with your thumb like this and very, very, very tightly wrap it around. Now you're going to want to take your string, make a loop in it like this, and then place it over the rubber band going around all the two Theraband strips. And then you just wrap the rubber band around the string a couple of times. And then you take the last bit of Theraband, take it through the loop, hold that side of the Theraband, and then you can pull the string back and under the whole entire rubber band. Just like that, and now you have a secure connection. Now that the bands are attached to the pouch, it's now time to attach them to the Slingshot. So you just want to make sure that the bands are aligned and then place it over the top like this. And we're basically just going to wrap this one on the exact same way that we wrapped it on to the pouch. So just going to take the Theraband strip that you cut out and then just wrap around. We're just going to take the string, make a little loop, and then place it like this, and then just wrap a few more times around it. So this will be the last time, so now I'll just take it, put it through the loop, and then I'll begin to pull the loop. And then, as you can see, it's pulling the Theraband under the Theraband, and so that's going to make a really secure connection. You can just chop that, and then pull the rest of this through. And then once that's through, it's locked in place. Now the band should be securely on the Slingshot and it's ready to shoot. So the ammunition that I'm using is these brass covered ball bearings and also some glass marbles. So I have my safety glasses on now, and I'm going to be first using the glass marbles to shoot at that half-gallon milk jug. So after only about 50 shots, the pouch eventually snapped. It was both from the hole being pretty close to the edge of the pouch, and also the material is really bad. And for this reason, I would have definitely recommended leather. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to make a better pouch, but luckily, this stayed bonded. It just goes to show how strong rubber bands can hold together. So the damage from the ball bearings were pretty good, and they were much better than the glass marbles. You can see that the glass marbles did leave some pretty good dents, but none of them did penetrate like the ball bearings did. So thanks for making it to the end of the video, and expect to see some Slingshot uploads pretty soon.